Right, so here today, myself, Clive Gosling, Holmes, and we're looking at some old magazines. We've got a couple of American ones, a couple of English ones, and this is from like June '86, so around the time right before Slough Worlds would have come out.
And where are we, Paul? Where are we?
We're in Huntington Beach.
Oh, we're in Huntington Beach. So we're not in Bournemouth.
No. I take it for granted. But it's nice. It's this time of year, right after Labor Day, between now and Christmas. It's nice. You get the sea, but this will break off and it'll be nice and warm in the afternoon. But there's not really any tourists in town after the end of summer. It's pretty cool. So, BMX Racer Freestyler, June 1986.
So we're straight into Tamworth action. Dale said that there might be some missing pages.
Let's see what
are you into?
Well, it says Tamworth and that's lower stuff.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, I don't remember an Amev rider ever going to Tamworth.
No.
What's pretty crazy is Tom's jumping from there.
Yeah.
He's jumping from Lowestoft into Tamworth.
Yeah, that looks like Tamworth.
Yeah, Tristan Tack, Mark Knock on the outside. God,
That's your age group.
that could well be me behind him in the Kurahara national team.
It could be Alex, could be Lee.
He
Although Lee would be out
I was
front,
about to
wouldn't
say,
he?
Lee wouldn't be behind it.
Yeah, Lee be out front.
Gary Rindy maybe. He was Kurahara national
Yeah.
team around that time.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on BMX Racer and Freestyle magazine made before?
It was another magazine and another chance to get photos. And I'm sure everybody else was stoked because, you got to remember, in like this day and age of social media where you're just giving all this stuff all the time, like there were so few magazines that you just waited for them to come out and hit them straight up. It was like one American magazine or maybe two American magazines and one or maybe two English ones. But then there was a period where I think like maybe 3 new magazines came out. Racer Freestyler was there. BMX, was it BMX Racer?
Racer,
yeah. There was another one.
What was the one that we did the shoot for?
That was early 90s, yeah. That was...
BMX World?
No.
Grind?
No.
It was only there for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I forgot, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Oh, no, what's your James Hudson's magazine?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think it was that one.
BMX Now?
Yeah,
BMX Now, yeah.
So this,
Shout out to BMX Now. I've got some biggies in there.
so June '86. By then, hadn't like BMX Action Bike kind of gone down the rad?
They all
the
started
rad route?
to. After the Worlds, this one was kind of gone as well. So these are the last couple issues of this and an action bike from at least racing,
Felt like Action Bike had already maybe gone to.
No, it was still
rad.
there, just less racing.
Because the Farnham race report from the
97.
Farnham after
The Ghost Nationals.
No, the one
With Mark Van Drill.
Yeah.
That's 97. That's 87.
87. The year after Slough.
Yeah.
All right.
But then it kind of faded. It was already fading.
But
then,
I mean,
yeah.
they were. I think Action Bike was still pumping a little bit, wasn't it? Because they were still Action Bike.
I think 87 would probably be the last year a little bit.
Rad. I just know that this magazine, they actually went to the races. Like you would see them at the races, and it wouldn't just be the Nationals. The Nationals started appearing.
Dave Spurden's right.
Yeah. But then there would be rider focuses on younger expert riders who you would only know if you were on the national scene. Like Ben Beasley got a cover, which was for a young expert racer to get a cover, that was pretty much unheard of at that point. So it was like everybody all of a sudden was getting pictures in the magazines. Like my first full page picture in the magazine was total fluke. It was Coxmore, and I think I had an inside gate, so I ended up getting in the lead for whatever reason. And
Lane 1 at Coxmore was good.
yeah, well, I couldn't. That's the only reason I was in the lead.
Coxmore was good.
And I jumped the triples
Darren
in front of Whopper actually. Yeah, I just it was another chance for people to get magazine coverage, and also another chance for you to learn what was going on, because everybody was like you and me. I wanted more. I wanted to know more.
There was no internet. There was no mobile phones. This was how you consumed media, right? This is how you consumed what was going on. I up at Frogtown talking to Bob Osborne, I sort of impressed upon him. Kenny and I spoke to him and said, when every month when BMX Action came out, you couldn't get it everywhere. It was pretty hard to find in the UK. And I used to get this one news agent to get it. I knew the day that it would come out, and I'd literally be down there first thing in the morning to get it, and then I'd literally take it to the nearest park bench and just sit and read it back cover to cover, and then ride home and then open it again and start reading more detail of it. And over the course of the month that you'd have it before the next one comes out, you would have read every page and every letter and looked at every advert. So that's why I think that these images are imprinted in our subconscious, because we consume them so deeply. And I think if you look now with mobile phones and the way kids are served, the way we're served media, it doesn't have that lasting impression, right?
No,
because
well.
This defined our childhood for me.
When you look at something on Instagram, you never look at it again. Scroll by to the next one. This, like I say, we're looking at it 30, 40 years later, some of these magazines.
Yeah, I don't. It's funny. I don't even know about videos now. You think about like iconic video parts from back then, but now it's people put out a video part, but it's the next latest and greatest one's out next, and then 2 years on you forget about the one that was like whereas you will still remember like all the sections on Etnies Forward, or I don't know. It's I'm sure kids will take that information in different ways. They'll have Neuralink in 5 years' time. You'll just be able to download every BMX image ever instantly.
Clive, this one here, Schweppes. So they was the main sponsor in the 80s. With your mum obviously being involved, do you know how much kind of money they were putting into BMX anyway?
I don't, but they sponsored the national series, right? In '86 it was the Schweppes BMX national series, and then Weetabix was sponsoring the Worlds.
Me and my dad did the flags.
Yeah, so you had a lot of big.
We had all the Schweppes.
That's
how we afforded. That's how we afforded to go racing.
Travel to do that.
Paid 10p a mile, I think, for.
I remember you saying this.
10p a mile for petrol, and the second year we got hotels. And we'd never had hotels.
But did you get free shandy?
No, we never got no fucking free drinks. And also I probably didn't do it as much, but Teesside, when all the racing's over, the last thing you want to fucking do is fucking
take all the flags.
Well, the kids used to nick them, didn't they? If you watch some of the Superclass finals, the kids would go on the track
that was a thing more so in America. We never
not as much maybe.
And it was a good deal for us. It was like they paid our gas, and fucking like I said, that was the first year I think I had hotels.
Yeah.
Fucking cool that house.
Yeah, good times.
What about Weetabix, Clive? You know what kind of money they put into the Worlds?
I think it was reasonable money. I'm kind of thinking like 20, 30 grand. I can't remember exactly. Mum will know.
In today's money, that's probably you're probably talking about 200.
So Mum was the treasurer for the '86 Worlds, so she'll know exactly what money came in. So I'll find out and let you know. But I think it was a good chunk of cash.
Yeah.
If you think about it back then, it was on TV. There was 86, there was probably 3 TV channels, right? Because Channel 4 hadn't come out in '86.
Oh.
So, got some good stuff.
All right, Paul, you got a lettuce.
Hang on. No. Check that out. So I'll go to the letters page, and it's Dear Sir.
I'll read it then.
I don't know. I don't even know if I want to read it. It caught my eye, but it's crazy. You can.
Where is it? Where's the letters page?
Letters page is. They didn't number their pages. Come on. 21, 20, 18. Page 18.
Page 18. I think this one's missing pages.
I think it is. Yeah, that's why I got 2. Sometimes.
Go on, let's have a look at it.
No, this is you. Yeah, you bet.
Can't let it. I'll read it. Which one?
It's
which one?
This one here. I didn't read it all yet, but
Dear Sir, I'm writing to ask if it is possible that you could print in your trackside article the new Edwards of Camberwell factory team. Ooh. It will consist of Daniel Edwards, my cousin, James Stillman, Lewis Stewart, Matt Stewart, Neil Bain and Michelle Bain. All these riders compete both regionally and nationally, and it is hoped that they will all do very well this season. As you have no doubt remember, Edwards have in the past had such riders as Charlie Reynolds, Dean Idials, Karen Murphy, Clive Gosling.
I was about to say, you're going to get a mention.
Do you have this ready?
No.
And we are hoping to be able to continue in their footsteps. Thank you in anticipation. Barry Stillman from Bexley Heath. If you're still around, cheers, Barry.
Thumbs up to Barry.
Crazy, right?
And they said, thank you, Barry, for the info and the interesting reminder that the Edwards teams of the past have grown from anonymity to fame. No doubt this present crop of riders will be out to do the same. I mean, you brought it up. I haven't brought it up, but if you think like Teesside 84, Gary Llewellyn, Dean Idials, Karen Murphy, Charlie Reynolds. I mean, that was a pretty good team, right?
Was it called Edwards Factory?
And then
see, my thing is, I was closer to like the, I was closer to like Hassett and
Peter Hassett, who was
and Moses.
he was quick.
like
Moses pretty, super quick.
You and Martin.
I mean, my uncle, when BMX kicked off in the shop, my uncle Gary bought this old red van, and the deal was that he would pull up outside the shop at about 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and whoever got in the back of the van went to the races. And there was always, like, you turn up and there was always, like, 10, 15 kids, and there was just 2 benches in the back. There was no seat belts and stuff in the back. And then he had a little welded rack on the top. He used to put the bikes on the top. And, Milton Keynes, your buddy's back with the blower.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
When we thought the guy couldn't piss us off anymore, he comes back with the blower.
I just like the fact it was, they were like a London team, and they were good. Like, they could race against anyone, like Gary and Charlie especially. But they weren't like the factory team, and they weren't like, it didn't act like. I didn't feel like they had to be.
Like a feeder team.
Well, I just didn't feel like they had to be well behaved or anything. They could be themselves, and they were like Hassett and Moses. Like, they were, more like Mimi and Winston or Errol, or just.
I tell you who else was on the team: Andre and Julian Howe, and the younger one I think was Julian, and he used to give Wayne Llewellyn a run for his money. He was quick, and also on the team was Andy. Can't remember his second name, but he ended up being like DJ undercover in the hijack in the group of hijack. So I used to go around his house and buy like £5 mixtapes off him. I remember he used to have like a Red Line 102B or something, and he used to come to races. And I mean, he's made it like massively in the music industry as a solid DJ.
Amazing how like Edwards went from the red sleeveless,
t-shirts.
the red sleeve, with the black Team Edwards on it,
and it was like felt. It was like Team Edwards in felt. It's
Same
just
as
a
the
red
factory
T-shirt
on my
that you put over your
GTV.
thing, and I wouldn't wear it. And the deal was, if you didn't wear, I had like a Robinson jersey, and I very rarely wore the red T-shirt over the top. And the deal was, if you didn't wear the red T-shirt, you wouldn't get like the white factory one when it came out. And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to start wearing that shitty red T-shirt. But 84 T-side. After that, like Gary got gobbled up by Amica Mongoose straight away. Dean and Karen went on to Rally. So really,
Dean stayed a bit longer, didn't he?
Dean stayed. When did they move
24/7,
to like 85? Maybe they moved to Rally. So maybe they were 84 on Rally the whole year. And I don't know if you remember, but Dean, Karen, and Gary were racing like a sort of frame that looked like a road frame.
I was about to say
it was.
Gary's,
Those frames were made by a company called TJ Quick, Tommy Quick, who was a frame builder in southeast London, and Gary just took like a BMX frame up there to copy the geometry, and it was made of like 531, all fillet brazed, but crazy. Like looking back on it,
and it had the old school curve.
Yeah, crazy like
yeah,
foot legs. Yeah.
When he won
I mean, how they
yeah.
didn't break, I don't know.
Dean loved that bike.
Oh, it's so light, so light. And I think Karen's like special product division Rally, that was really similar to it in terms of geometry and build.
Yeah.
So there you go, straight into Edwards. Crazy.
Let's flip through and talk about some of the stuff in this particular issue.
You've got both.
Yeah, go on, you take that one.
We've already looked at Tristan Tack.
Dude, another dude from
There you go, talking to Gary. There you go.
There you go.
I mean, that photograph, it's is that Brackens on the inside?
That is Brackens.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, Pete on Mongoose. Tim looks like in the motocross fox pants. Jamie on Scorpion.
Who's this from the background? Just
Where?
So what did Gary's got your helmet on, right? Is your name? Is that your
Yeah,
helmet?
yeah. So Gary, oh man.
Give us a story on this.
he's riding a TA, an XL TA.
Is he in between sponsors here then?
No, Gary's riding for Halfords,
Right.
full time, getting paid,
in his jeans.
in his jeans,
Right.
not giving a fuck. I mean, Gary, obviously we now know that Gary, I mean, even in this era here, Gary had some serious addiction issues. So obviously so there's a little hotbed around a place called Penge, right? Penge, Chris Young, Andy Young, Warren Godfrey, Stephen Godfrey, Wayne Llewellyn, Gary Llewellyn, they all live within like half a mile of each other. There's Betts Park, the sewage farm, Brian's Team Challengers, which was Wayne Llewellyn's first thing, and I lived a couple of miles away, but we used to sort of ride together in this area. And Gary had a very addictive personality, and I mean, I can tell you, like, is this the race? This isn't the race he won, is it?
No, that's a different
The
thing.
race he won was
Yeah.
like the following year, when he got banned and he
tripled
pissed
there.
off the side of the start hill.
Triple. It could have been the same year because there might have been two races that year. This is the international one. Tommy won.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. They're an
yeah.
international and a national.
I mean, to give you an idea of the sort of demons that Gary was dealing with, the year after when he won this, and me and Charlie and Gary were in Charlie's car leaving this event, and we'd barely pulled out of the event before Gary was in the back of Charlie's car sniffing lighter fluid. Like, honestly, he had some serious, I mean, you know, he was on one side, I mean, see that scar across my hand, right? That's Gary did that with a bread knife, like in my nan's kitchen making sandwiches, and Gary was the sort of person that would just go, oh, I wonder what would happen if I just like sliced you with this knife.
Oh my God.
And like, he cut my hand, I was like, what the fuck are you doing, Gary? Now I've got to go over to the hospital and have it stitched up. But he would just do stuff to see what would happen.
Yeah.
So he had a really, you know, he had a lot of mental health issues, and obviously mental health back in the 80s wasn't really a thing, right? I mean, it's only been a thing recently, but yeah, Gary had some serious addiction issues, but what a talent on a bike.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, Gary on a bike. I mean, also just think of the size of that bike. Imagine putting Gary on a bike back then that actually fitted him, a limo or something.
I mean, that TA is an XL that he was riding, I think, by the time he got on Halford.
Yeah, but what would that have been? A 20-inch top tube? An XL TA? It wouldn't have been a long bike, would it?
I think
Not
Geth
by
even
today's
said he was the
standards.
most feared guy. I don't know if the word's feared, but Geth like had a lot of respect for him.
Yeah,
I just
For his
when
talent,
you
you know?
when you've got it's you know, it doesn't matter about bike riding or anything. When it comes down to it, even at that level, like it's that straight line sprinting speed, and he just fucking was flat out
Yeah.
faster than other people. Whether it's because he was taller or longer legs or
Leverage,
whatever,
wasn't it? Yeah.
just
And weight.
flat out faster than people.
But yeah,
And
that's my helmet and my gloves. If you look at pictures of the Worlds, he's wearing my helmet and shit. He just never turned up.
And he's battling with the world champion that year.
Yeah, he just never
yeah.
turned up ready to, you know, he was always
wasn't
like...
prepared.
No, not at all. Not at all. You know, never really trained. You know, training wasn't even really a thing. He
Very
just
talented.
turned up and had bags of natural talent.
must be nice.
Let's keep turning.
Yeah. Chuck Robinson.
Oh,
I know, right?
let's not go there.
No.
Oh, Winnie, come on.
All right.
Oh.
Oh,
Did I
God.
miss it? Did I miss it? Maybe I've
There's
got
a few
maybe I've
pages
got.
missing.
Oh, well, I've
Yeah,
got
that's
the one
why
with
I've got
missing
2
page.
issues, I think. Yeah.
Well, look, so this is... Oh,
Boy, that is-
damn.
I was about to
Oh,
say,
wow.
look at that for
Yeah,
a
yeah.
three.
Do you know how strategically he's bought all the magazines with him in?
That is, I mean,
That's actually my first big cruiser race I did.
Is this Lowestoft as
Lowest
well?
up
Yeah.
international, yeah.
Okay. I mean, apart from you, looking pretty factory.
I actually won that because Chris Taylor and Paul, this was 14 to 15 cruiser.
Paul Clarkson.
I was 14. Paul Clarkson and Chris Taylor were first and second. There was battling, and I think they took each other out, and that's how I got round them.
Yeah, but for me on here, you know, I see a picture of Winnie and emotions just explode inside me.
Chris Carter behind him.
that's my favourite era of Winston
Is that
as
Chris
well.
Carter?
Yeah, because it was
Okay.
Age on the Day,
Okay.
and so
Oh,
Carter
yeah.
went up.
Yeah.
But like Winston on Mongoose, that's my favourite. Like when I think of him, like that's my favourite era. Like that when he was the older expert, and I guess Lynx maybe. But when he then started battling against Andy for Superclass, that's my favourite. You know, obviously all them times riding when we first started riding, but they're my favourite memories of Winston when he was on Mongoose. I mean, I was on the team like a year after that, so we were teammates. But yeah, I
I
remember
mean, he's got
him
his
like that.
JMC helmet on there, right, from when he was on.
He would have only just
Yeah.
changed it. I think
Yeah.
he might still
Still
be
be on
on the
Jam-
bike. Yeah.
Yeah, Daryl Young, by the look of it. So Winnie, yeah, I mean, me and Mum used to pick Winnie up and take him racing. So for years we were, you know, in the car, and it would be the same. It'd be the same every time. Pull up outside his block. Mum would be like, toot toot, and he'd be like, ooh, and then he'd come down like laughing late. You know, Mum's like, come on, we've got to fucking hit the road. You know, always late, like always messing about, but always smiling, laughing, joking. And what an energy! Like what a fantastic human being, and sorely missed.
Absolutely.
Sorely missed. You know.
It's funny, those, like I've said it before, those first trips to Westway and meeting like him and Errol and Arnold, like that was the first time that I'd seen, like Arnold was what I think I've told you before. Arnold was the first time I'd actually seen in the flesh like what I considered to be an adult dude looking cool as shit on a BMX.
He didn't ride very long then, did he?
No, but I mean, what he did, he was at nationals for a while. 82, I think he was ranked in. I think he might have even been like top 20 in 82. Then he raced 83. But yeah, I mean, he was, he was super cool, like 6'1", 6'2", like just, yeah, and just was fucking killer.
Let's talk about Tommy
I've
Lynch.
gone back a couple of pages.
Tommy.
Got an advert with Tom. Got Tom on the cover of there. I would imagine he's peppered in the other stuff as well.
Deservedly so.
I mean, every picture tells a story. This Robinson ad, and a little cheeky smiling Tom, who's probably then
First year Superclass.
16.
It'll be 16,
Yeah, 16. Obviously, one of our, but my sort of inner circle of best friends in the world, and I don't even know where to start with Tom.
Well, at 86.
Wait,
that
so
was
You know,
great, you know?
in this. Well, let's talk about this era. This was Vitastat. For me,
No,
like
we
Tom.
that was the year before. So he won 15 expert.
Vitastat was 86.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm thinking
Yeah.
he won the Euros in Spain in 85, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no. He won the Euros in but at 86 when he was Superclass.
Was the big year, yeah.
The big year, the Europeans at Vitastat with him in the final with
Yeah.
7 other
In the
Amevs or
Worlds,
whatever,
yeah.
and absolutely fucking nailing them.
Yeah.
For me, that was Tom. I think that was Tom's best ever race, and he just looked factory as hell, smooth as silk,
Mm-hmm.
powerful, like the power. I mean, we're talking about training, like Gary never training. I never really trained.
Tom
Tom was a
trained his
training
ass off.
animal.
I just wish
You
he'd
know?
won the Worlds. I wish he'd won the Worlds on that last track.
It was
So
close.
here you go. I've got trivia for you that I'm pretty sure you won't get, and it's about Winston. So, between Rainbow and Mongoose, Winston flirted with riding for somebody, and it was an offset of a team, and I think the reason I remember
What
it is
year?
because he's 86, I think it is, maybe.
Did he actually ride a different bike?
I don't know if he rode the bike.
So after Rainbow, but before Mongoose.
Yeah.
Ooh, Skyway.
No, and I don't even think he rode the bike or the gear. But I do remember because I've just seen his name in the results, and you might not remember.
Remember, sometimes they got
Diamondback?
that stuff wrong in the results.
Yeah, I know, but I'm pretty sure I remember
Go on.
Winston talking to them and then it not happening. Like GT Wales, you remember that?
GT Wales.
Yeah,
Is that what
he's-
Chris Simmons rode for?
I think so. And what's his name?
Rob Hill?
Not Paul Gray. Who the shorter black-haired guy who went pro in the end?
All right.
Yeah, I think he rode.
I do remember GT Wales.
That's so
Yeah, yeah. I
nuts
don't
that
remember
he would.
Winston,
I know, but
no.
I think he spoke to him for like, a week. But this is crazy. This is the double. I think this is the double one where it's the Schweppes series, but then it's also the
International.
yeah.
Because I think it was a whole weekend of both, I think there's a national after the international.
Damn, Tristan Tack got second in Cruiser. There's no justice in the world.
Yeah, but Cruiser doesn't count, Paul. We've already discussed that.
It still hurts. Yeah, amazing. See these. Damn, Simon Blinkhorn beat Anthony Howes and Neil.
Simon Blinkhorn won the British Championships 2 years in a row, 85 and 86.
Boss.
He was good.
Amazing. This time, right? It seems that everything got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger going towards Slough, and then as soon as Slough was done, it just bleh.
Everybody was just waiting
Everyone
for
was
the last hurrah.
everyone was gone. Like I think it was the signs were there. It was even starting to happen before then, but you didn't. Everyone was looking forward to the world so much. Dude, Whopper.
Mm.
It's funny.
Youngest guy in a race to jump the dollies. Cruiser
Yeah.
final.
Yeah, he didn't Wayne jump.
We
Wayne
talked about
jumps him in
this,
practice, not in. I don't think he jumps him in a race.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Let's touch on a few more.
Dude, I can't believe I'm not in the results anywhere.
There's somebody I wanted to. Who was it?
I want to have a picture of some of these.
Oh, there's another picture of you, Dale.
Darren Stock. We don't talk about him too much. Thoughts on him?
Crash or win.
I mean, he was Tom's rival that year in '86 for the Superclass title.
I mean, he was so quick. For me, that sort of stiff back style. He didn't look great on a bike, but bloody hell, he was quick, and he was
Strong.
pretty smooth. He just sort of had that kind of
Yeah.
kind of muscle
I think
riding
he
style.
was one of the first people who actually hit the gym and made himself powerful.
Yeah.
You're right.
Like he was the
Yeah.
first person who heard talking about bench presses and shit. Like, and it was obvious when you saw him on the gate. Like, you know, apart from Steve Bigland, he just rode away from that age group. Like, you know, every time.
Well, Open Superclass, he looks like he's in front of Scott Clark, isn't it? Is that Scott Clark?
Could be, or German. There's a German redline team.
Could be.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott Clark was on Robinson.
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't think he
Yeah,
wasn't.
All right, your man Charlie there.
Charlie Reynolds, there he is.
Team Edwards.
Yeah, well, there he looked like he was sort of privateering it there.
It was
in his,
around the time.
No, there he was on DP.
DP, yeah.
Because he's got some cool kit pants.
Yeah.
So he's riding for DP. You know, where...
American football shirt, right? That's what he used to race.
Yeah, where can I start on Charlie? You know, one of the funniest people you'll ever spend time with, a genuinely decent human being. I feel like he could. It's a crying shame he was never on like TV or something. I think he, you know, was
Personality.
such a personality. But the thing with Charlie is, he's got no off switch, right? It's just bang, 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 and that's amazing if you can put up with it. But on a bike, bloody hell, I think he's underrated. You know, like when we're talking about Hall of Fame stuff like that, I know his sort of names popped up as sort of like jumping and stuff like that, but you go back to like 84, cruiser and 20 inch, you know, he was one of the best riders out there. You know, I remember him racing Wigan on his 24-inch VDC with like 1 3/8.
Well, him and
one of the
Geff
first
battled a
riders.
little bit in
Yeah,
that
24 1 3/8.
yeah.
So, you know, quite innovative in like trying different stuff on the bike. I think he was fast, he was smooth, he looked great personality. But you know what? He's just, you know, you look at him like today on social. He's got time for everybody. Charlie. He's a thoroughly decent human being, and I wish that people like him and Wayne and Gary had gone on to do bigger and better things in BMX. You know, coming out to, like VDC, Changa, Super Test. You know, Charlie was probably, you know, one of VDC's strongest assets globally in terms of like getting people on the bikes.
Right, a young Dylan Clayton on Mongoose.
A young
Wheels.
Dylan Clayton. I mean, look, you, Dylan, Charlie, some of the best riders in the world. I did it again. Thoroughly amazing human beings. Everybody on here, just you would spend. You know, if you were stuck in a plane for 12 hours talking to any of these people, it'd be fantastic.
Great caption there.
Dale Holmes, there's no more radical rider on the circuits. It's funny because I wouldn't call you a radical rider at all.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true.
Dale Holmes, there's no more sneakier rider on the circuits. I mean, you know what? We probably don't talk about you enough.
No, I don't want to talk
Because
about it.
but that's the thing, right? You don't
yeah.
talk about you.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in Hall of Fame and everything else. But you know, you've probably achieved more than all of them. Like, you know, what you've done out here and what you still do today, and you know elite world champs and stuff like that. You've probably done more than anybody. Maybe there should be a whole separate Dale Holmes.
No.
Like,
Let's turn the
podcast.
page. Moving on. Thank you, Clive. I appreciate you saying that.
I always go with the
What about Frankie? We never talk about him much.
And Tony.
Tony Holland.
Let's talk about Frankie.
Yeah.
Again, another for me. You know, you meet like at the Malverns, Trev Robinson and Pat Robinson came to the Malverns, and I haven't seen Trev Robinson since Birmingham Wheels '83 or whatever, right? And I was like, wow, you used to be so tall, but the reality was I was 12 the last time I probably saw him.
Yeah.
But Frankie, similar vein, gentle giant, like super nice guy. Always, again, Frankie Winnie, always a big smile on the face. And Errol, never too serious, but when the gate drops, bullshit stops, then they get down to racing. But yeah, Frankie, I thought he was an awesome person, a great
Rode
racer.
for MRD, right, as well?
Yeah, rode for MRD. I mean, here he's in Robinson gear. I don't remember
That was
him.
kind of at the end when he was pro. So he was on MRD before that.
No, Tim had him on MRD for a long time.
Yeah.
We were talking about the Vita Stat with Tom and
Yep.
and the Worlds that year. That's in this one. It's crazy, man. Looking at like some of that photograph of Dylan.
That's a great
Yeah.
picture.
That photograph of Dylan is so iconic. Like just winning the title, and it's there's the photograph of Dean getting disqualified. Look at that. The photograph of Dean getting placed last. His mum has to come over and tell him he's placed last at that point, and then Karen, after she got overtaken by Sherry Elliott.
Oh, Karen had some
Twice,
near
man.
misses, right?
Twice in a row. Like it's, I mean, it's bad. Like when you look at Joe, like Joe Eastwood getting second. Like that must be a heartbreaker. But to be leading both years, 2 years in a row, leading all the way, and then somebody overtaking you. And when you think about
Sherry
it,
Elliott.
well, and Sarah Jane, the two people who overtook her are literally two of the fastest women to ever have raced. You know, it's.
I didn't see it, but Sherry Elliott was there the weekend. Did you see that? I heard him
I
announce.
didn't.
I heard him announce she was there. Yeah.
No, I
Look
didn't
at
see
that
it.
photo. That's crazy. That's awesome. Like the fact that it's David over there, but then that shot of everybody at the. I'm sure if you zoomed in and went through all them, there's some. You know, so many people from the old BMX scene. Isn't it amazing how like that really was the peak? There it is. There's that photo, Tommy.
Look at the crowd there.
Oh, dude.
Look at the crowd there. But
He was my favourite back then, and I'm lucky enough to still talk to him now. But that was the first time EC had come to England, and he was just, dude, undeniable. Didn't matter whether he had the whole shot or didn't have the whole shot. It just didn't matter, and it didn't matter who's in front of him. It didn't matter whether it was another American or some super powerful European. It didn't matter. Just it wasn't going to be like it just wasn't going to be beaten.
yeah.
Him versus Charles Townsend would have been a good race that year.
It would have been, yeah.
Townsend with a whole shot, I don't doubt about it. But you've got some nice photos in there. There's Dean behind Andy Welsh and Ryan Laderberg. Luley winning.
These are the presentation from the 86 World. Luley, Emma Crew in third.
Hey, you know what? That photograph there, like anybody who's voting for Hall of Fame, that photograph there says a lot.
Let's talk controversy. Pro lineup.
Oh, God.
We can see the pro main there. Charlie, Gary, Eddie King, Hollywood, Gary,
Texas.
Sean Texas, and Tommy Brackens. Pros didn't race. The pros didn't race because, oh man, I don't even know if I want to open this can of worms. They didn't race because Gary was banned by the PRA for doing whatever, for being Gary, you know, and they didn't race. How do we all feel about that? I'm happy to put my head on the chopping block and go
I think
first.
they should have raced, yeah.
I think they should have raced.
Absolutely,
I think a dispute with Gary should have been parked for the good of the sport.
Yes.
Because those people that came, they wanted to see the UK pros race against the American pros, and I think it was a crying shame for everybody that attended, including the pros that didn't race, that we didn't put on the spectacle that we could have put on because of, I get there's a principle in it, but I think sometimes you just got to say, for the greater good, let's park that and then come back to it. You know, I always feel like it could have been such a better World Championships, and I think because of that, maybe the pro class at the Worlds is kind of overshadowed by a lot of the other stuff that was maybe better because there was a lack of pros racing.
A lot more focus on the amateurs because of that.
Yeah.
And super like Tom was the one that everyone was watching
because he just won the Euros and he was
Andy Welsh.
It was the highest class.
Yeah.
But I mean with Tom being super class, but with us only having Gary and Charlie in pro, like that was the as the racing was going on, it was like that was the last massive point of excitement for the English fans. Even though you had a third pro main after Tom.
Me and you have talked about it. If they had raced, Geoff was still somewhat injured, or he wasn't 100%.
He'd got hurt at Hounslow,
But
hadn't he?
we talked about it once, where if Geoff was healthy and they did race, where they would all feature, and I think we put Geoff in maybe third. I think we said, right?
Yeah, I think maybe.
Second, third,
I don't know about Sean Texas. Sean Texas was so powerful and so strong, but I mean, I think Ellis and Brackens were probably ahead of everybody except for maybe Geoff on a good day.
So Geoff would have probably
third or fourth, depending.
Yeah.
I mean that track as well is a power track. Yeah. Really, when you look at it, set up there.
I mean, Tim was still pretty powerful back then.
Yeah,
I don't maybe not at his peak, but Tim might have still been able to mix it up, and Jamie Vince might have been able to still mix it up.
Problem with Tim, it might have even...
Schofield was reigning world champion from Superclass years before, so
don't think he would. Oh, I don't know. It's hard to tell when there's 2 English people and 6 Americans. You know, the bias is one side, but if there'd been like 6 Americans and 20 English people, it would have been a lot different.
Because you mix,
and making the final would have been harder, so you would have had more English in there.
It gets mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, but like it's a shame though. It is a shame that that never happened. And amazing that it would end up coming to that, you know, and not like you and me said as well. Like if that had been me, it would have taken a lot for me to not.
Oh,
race.
I would have totally raced. Yeah.
It would have taken a lot for me to not race, and I understand everybody's stuck to their principles, and I think maybe the problem was I think everybody thought there's no way that they'll do what happened. There's no way they'll just let two English people race. They won't do it, but they did. And I think the final thing was they told them you can race if you want it, but they pulled out.
Final thoughts, Clive, on this one?
What, on the pro situation?
Oh, just on this video.
Oh,
Which ones we missed out?
There's loads here. I mean, I've just looked
here.
here. Like Coxmore's in here with like Sewell, you know, when he was over here racing, and
that's one of the.
I love that I love that picture of Pete. I think Pete was one of the most factory riders. His bikes were always dialed, his gear was always dialed, he always had the latest shit.
That's why Dylan ends up looking like he does.
I know, because Pete as a mentor.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Pete for me was always, and he had that great pedaling style. Again, another massively underrated rider, and I know that last year, kind of like Hall of Fame wise, like, you know, not taking anything away from Alan, but Pete was my choice.
I thought it was I thought it was down to either him or Alan.
Yeah. Both equally.
I've already shared my thoughts about Pete. I didn't really.
He's your favourite, right?
Yeah, I didn't really like. Well, not didn't really like, but I didn't really gravitate towards Tim or Andy at that point. But Pete spoke. When he spoke, he sounded just like my dad's mates. Like he sounded exactly like them, and I think I had that affinity towards him. And because he was never the favourite where people were like, dude, Middleton's going to win today. Like I'm maybe one of those pro races later in the year where he won all the motors and stuff. But he was never really the favourite going into the final. But like he won the first pro race, didn't he? I think he won the first race.
Yeah.
The actual first BMX race.
Yeah.
Like it's and you know it's. I never really, especially Andy, I never really felt that affinity towards him. But Pete had just left Mongoose when I got on. He just left for ASR. I got to ride one of his old, like the orange Super Goose. But yeah, he was my favourite out of all of them.
But full factory, everything was always dialed. Not taking anything away from Andy or Tim, but Andy, you know, wonky peak and
front brake,
just
fast forward,
you know,
nerd,
nerd. I mean, Andy was. I mean, let's face it, Andy was the original superstar. Like early '80s,
yeah, you can't deny that.
He was unbelievable. But like mid '80s, when he was on rally and stuff like that, I don't ever think his sort of like bike or his gear. Like Pete always looked like an American sort of super factory rider, and Pete, you know, and Andy never quite had that same kind of appeal for me.
Pete had stuff that was so trick that you didn't realise until you actually sat on his bike.
Yeah.
He had the Renthal bars that actually had a back sweep.
Yeah.
Like he had a pair of Renthal bars that had the same back sweep as Star bars, whereas everybody else was riding these Renthal bars that had like 2 degrees back sweep. They literally felt like they were on backwards and they were horrible. But his Renthal bars weren't like that.
All right, last thoughts. Favourite pro, Pete Milton? UK pro?
From back in that area, I think
From back then, yeah, Pete, 100%. And like Paul said, totally approachable, and you know, he was just like really relatable. I think maybe we put Tim and Andy on too much of a pedestal because they were the original kind of superstars. And you know, I remember the first time Tim ever spoke to me, and it was at Lowestoft. And do you remember the Dutch came over with the oval chain rings?
Yeah.
And you know, Tim was very good technically with equipment, like identifying trends and wanting the latest stuff. And Tim was walking around the paddock at Lowestoft trying to find a spider to put this chain ring on his cranks. And you know, I was only like, I don't know, 14 or something. And I was like, oh Tim, I've got a spider in my toolbox. And I lent him a spider. That's the first time I spoke to Tim March. And like meeting, you know, say like you shouldn't meet heroes. Like meeting Tim was pretty cool. And then a couple of nationals later, he gave me a plate. You know, I had to badger him for it, but I eventually got it. But yeah, meeting Tim or Andy was a big deal. Whereas I felt like Pete was like more like one of you, more relatable. Yeah, super cool dude. Even to this day, last year Hall of Fame, hadn't seen him for years. Massive hugs, just really such a nice human.
I hope he wins this year.
Yeah,
I hope he wins.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Catch you later.